In Bangalore alone, every single month, there are around 200 new biryani joints which open up. That's Bangalore alone. And believe me or not, it's not any less even in Chennai.
What advice would you give aspiring entrepreneurs, particularly women who want to start a business in the food industry?
Okay, to talk about advice, so with R&R, the marketing strategy was honestly, we focused more on the packaging. So that was our marketing strategy. The fact that there's no physical contact with the customer, right, like how you rightly mentioned, we wanted to give an experience when the biryani reaches home, the wow factor to be created.
And through these 5 years, you've also had a personal upgrade to life. You're also a new mother. So how do you juggle the demands of professional life, like a brand new startup of 5 years and being a new mother? There's a lot of demands professionally and personally. So how do you manage your time and juggle this?
Honestly, I need to accept my failure. So like how I mentioned, there are two kinds of marketing, right? So either there's push marketing and pull marketing. So what I mean by that is you have a unique product, you go out there, onboard influencers to promote it, or you create an social media worthy, hype in the product itself.
Yeah, I think I can speak for everybody in the auditorium that we're all quite envious of you that you can eat biryani anytime you want. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, who is to judge? It's part of business analysis, right? Like Mr. Selvam said, people die for biryani. People live and die for biryani. When we're happy, we eat biryani. When we're sad, we eat biryani. So I think a lot of us are very keen to understand and see how somebody's life is when your work life is around biryani. But of course, it's serious business for you. So to start off with, could you give us an idea about what the statistics are of biryani consumption in India? Do you have any insights? It would come through with the demands that come from Swiggy or Zomato. Could you take us through how consumption of biryani looks like in India?
So you asked about data. So a quick insight is last year, every minute, there were 150 biryanis sold on Zomato, every minute. And there were another 180 biryanis sold on Swiggy, every minute, pan-India. That's how huge the biryani market is. And if you look at the online delivery space, it comes around 1,250 crore market, which only accounts to 25% of the entire market. But when you look at the overall picture of the organized market, it is 5,000 crores. And that also accounts to only 25%. So if you look at the overall potential of biryani, you're looking anywhere around 20,000 crores is the market size of the biryani. But having said that, in fact, when I just happened to meet the head of Swiggy, he was saying that when we thought the biryani market was so saturated, R&R proved us wrong. Because in Bangalore alone, every single month, there are around 200 new biryani joints which open up. That's Bangalore alone. And believe me or not, it's not any less even in Chennai. So that's how saturated and competitive even the market is.
Yeah, given the saturation in the market and given the fact that historically every state has had their own variety of biryani, every community has had that. So how would you say your brand of biryani stands out amongst these varieties across India?
So essentially we popularize in Karnataka style of cuisine. And one of the main co-products, of course, which stands out is the Donne biryani. Donne essentially means the palm leaf is called Donne because essentially, over time it was served in a pouch of palm leaf. The different factor of Donne biryani is it's made out of sirge sambar rice, which we call as the jeera sambar rice. So it has a very strong green, appearance to it that essentially comes out because of the greens they use, which is coriander and pudina. That's what predominantly dominates in the biryani. And above all, what is very different about this biryani is the fact that the rice doesn't have its own characteristic. So when it goes within the entire essence of masala, every grain of rice literally absorbs the masala. right? So that's as against a basmati rice, which is actually very flavorful just by itself. So that's the major differentiation factor of Donne Biryani.
I think you made the audience just a little more hungry than they already were. What advice would you give aspiring entrepreneurs, particularly women who want to start a business in the food industry?
Okay, to talk about advice, what motivated us to start R&R was the fact that there was a huge market gap in an organized biryani brand. And there were innumerable number of players, but there was no brand per se, which delivers Donne Biryani. And so my first advice would be is to find a market gap and ensure you do your good research when it comes to your demand and supply and then blast out to it. That's exactly what we did. And second is we started during the worst of times. Is that an advice? We actually started during COVID, which was the worst of times. In fact, one fine day when I was just scrolling through Swiggy during COVID, and when I wanted to order biryani, and of course, me being a Bangalore girl, I wanted to order Donne Biryani. And I couldn't even find one place where we could be very sure, okay, the food is coming, is prepared in the most hygiene manner. It's prepared in a safe and a hygienic environment because all of us were so concerned during COVID, all the more than any of the times. So that was when we decided that maybe this is the right time to test our brand. So that's when we plunged in and started our first kitchen during the peak of COVID. And it turned out to be the right time for us at that point of time because in just less than a month, we achieved 10,000 orders. And a year since then, like how the weekend, we caught the eyes of Weekend Leader. They featured our story of the kind of numbers we achieved. But the second part of it is we are 5 times more now than the number what Weekend Leader has featured. So that's the, the growth and the momentum we have seen. And I think it goes back, for the fact that we started during COVID, so that made a huge difference for us, the fact that we started during COVID. And all in all, business by itself is a risk every day. You might slip and fall, or you will slip and fall every day. There are hundreds of hiccups you face, but it's important to just keep going and look at the end goal, and that's what we have done.
And also starting during COVID, obviously, there was not much of a physical presence you could have. So I think in your initial days, you had roped in celebrities to sort of talk about your brand. So how did you rope them in? What did your social media strategy look like at that point? And how important do you think is this kind of collaboration? Because we are in the digital age. And I think a lot of them would be interested to know if this is something that's cost effective or it actually costs them more.
So with R&R, the marketing strategy was, honestly, we focused more on the packaging. So that was our marketing strategy. The fact that there's no physical contact with the customer, right, like how you rightly mentioned, we wanted to give an experience when the biryani reaches home, the wow factor to be created. And also we wanted to make it social media worthy enough that, if they receive, so it comes in a beautiful tin box, in a triangle box. And, and we happen to qualify the cool factor of social media, and that's precisely what we wanted to achieve, because of receiving such a unique packaging just created a ripple effect and a word of mouth marketing where a lot of people happen to talk about it on social media, be it influencers or even non-influencers. So that created a huge word of mouth marketing. And honestly, for us, the kind of noise we made at the start, it was a ripple effect which eventually led to even celebrities talk about it. And then it just bursted out there on. And of course, with all the PR coverage, which also added to it. But then if I have to probably say now how the social media scenario would be, it is very important, undoubtedly. It is cost effective as well when you compare it with a television advertisement or a print advertisement for that matter. And it's very, very important to have innovative content go up, because I think 80% of our time, of non-working hours, if it's another discussion if it's good or not, but the fact is it is spent on social media. So it's very, very, very important for any business to be very relevant and out there on social media.
And it's been 5 years now. So through this time, what would you say has been your biggest achievement?
No, it's just not the fact that we started during COVID and we were, declared as the best brand launches pan India. Not even the fact that we might, be 5x more than what we started off. But according to me, the biggest achievement is the fact that, we were very instrumental in shaping a particular cuisine back in our city, which I think is the biggest pride for me, right? So it's the fact that now, a five-star hotel, even a resto bar or different segments of, formats of restaurants now serve Donne Biryani, which wasn't the scenario 5 years ago. And according to me, that is the biggest achievement, I truly believe.
And through these 5 years, you've also had a personal upgrade to life. You're also a new mother. So, how do you juggle the demands of professional life, like a brand new startup of 5 years and being a new mother? There's a lot of demands professionally and personally. So, how do you manage your time and juggle this?
Honestly, I need to accept my failure here. According to me, there's nothing called work-life balance. So it is, it's a compromise on either one of your responsibilities. It's extremely hard to pick what to prioritize. And I think it's okay because, that's how the reality is. When you're married or when you're a new mother, all the more, you have to juggle. And I have utmost respect to those who, pick to probably take a break and then join back. If you can do it, I mean, kudos to you for that. And also huge amount of respect for those who, try to manage and even continue to what they're doing. So again, high amount of respect for that. But honestly, according to me, work-life balance just does not exist.
So we somehow make do with all of it. This business of yours also has a lot of family involvement, right? Your father has been in the food industry. You run this with your elder sister, Shweta. So the success and failures of your family's business and what you and your sister are building through are all learnings. So how is it working with family? What are the advantages and challenges of running a business with a family member?
So the main aspect is, when it again comes to family, there can be a lot of pros and cons. But for us, we've made it fairly simpler by dividing, responsibilities crystal clear, right? So where my sister handles marketing, I look into operations, and my dad is into another vertical of business, so he doesn't involve much in R&R. But yeah, so this is the entire scenario and setup. So, I mean, of course, we have seen, coming again when we join to discuss difference of opinions. But again, the department you're handling, your words supersedes. So that's how we manage and go on.
Hello, ma'am. So, firstly, congratulations for winning the Super Startup Award. My question would be, what is the different strategy that you employed in digital marketing, ma'am, as the global digitalization is going on and Instagram influencers and all those stuffs are there? What made R&R Biryani a separate entity into the world of food?
So like how I mentioned, there are two kinds of marketing, right? So either there's push marketing and pull marketing. So what I mean by that is you have a unique product, you go out there, onboard influencers to promote it, or you create an social media worthy hype in the product itself that it just has a ripple effect. And we in fact followed the latter option where the idea, so we didn't really invest in social media. Our major strategy was to invest in marketing, on packaging. So the very fact that, in industry standard, anyway, the packaging cost would be not more than 5% of the product cost. For us, it, superseded 10% of the product cost. And we, informally took that decision because that was our investment, in fact.
I'm also curious, when can we expect R&R Biriyani in Chennai, ma'am?
Thank you for that question. So, This year is the answer.
Thank
For
you.
sure.
Thank you.
Hello, ma'am. So R&R's rapid expansion has been nothing but impressive. So do you envision expanding into other states, as my friend told here? And do you potentially think about expanding into international or a national market? If so, how do you plan to maintain this consistency and this amazing growth momentum?
So, to be honest, the biggest challenge, how you rightly said, is standardization in the food industry. So, we have, to a certain level, cracked it by standardizing the recipe. You know, to not make it people dependent, but to have a more process driven approach to it. And our approach and method for expansion is to maximize the city and then enter into another city. So it literally took us 4 to 5 years to almost maximize Bangalore. So we have 28 locations now. And that's why I said that, you know, probably this year, or rather this year, is a good time for us to enter into another city, and that for sure will be Chennai.
All right, thank you so much for talking with us, Ramya. All the very best. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.